Welcome back to HBP, the podcast that covers college basketball and the NBA draft inside and out. I am Rich Harrison. Thank you for joining us again. Today, we're going to have a special episode. We're going to have a trio of stars on the show, and we're going to talk to all three of them. All three of them are in the mix for March Madness, well, I'll just say who they are. One is Jonathan Mogbo from San Francisco, the forward who's in contention for Player of the Year in the West Coast Conference. The other is freshman guard from Mississippi State, Josh Hubbard, a top 100 recruit who currently ranks second in the SEC for three-point percentage. And lastly, we have PJ Hall from Clemson, who is a Player of the Year candidate in the ACC and a Wooden Award finalist. So we will be talking to all three of those guys on this episode. And if you want, we're also going to include their highlights, and we're actually going to put the full interview with the guys and with some of their highlights on YouTube. So you can look for that coming up too in a few days. Our first special guest is San Francisco senior forward Jonathan Mogbo, a Player of the Year candidate in the West Coast Conference. Jonathan leads the country in field goal percentage with 67.3% and player efficiency rating at 34.1. He also ranks in the top 10 of Division I for dunks, 75. You're tied with Zach Edey, by the way. And for second in the country in dunks. Win shares, you're second in the country. Plus minus, you're sixth. Rebounds per game at 10.5, that's ninth in the country. And rebound percentage, you're third in the country. Additionally, in the West Coast Conference, Jonathan ranks in the top 10 for points per game at 15.4, steals per game at 1.8, assist percentage at 23.3, steal percentage at 3.6, and block percentage at 4.0. Woo! You lead in a lot of categories, my friend. Welcome to the show, Jonathan. How you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
So, part of my job is to watch a lot of college basketball. And every time some announcer says, he's the best dunker in college basketball, and I say to myself, or maybe I even say it out loud, you haven't seen San Francisco play yet this year.
Yep. Hey, man, they don't know yet. They don't know.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone get up as high as you. I mean, I've seen you literally, you'll cock your arms back like this, all right? And your elbow, the point of your elbow will be above the rim. Have they measured your vertical at San Francisco?
I don't think we've done that yet. I'm not sure what it is either, but I think we have more of an explosion thing. I don't think we measure vertical yet.
Okay. Well, I am here to declare you the best dunker in college basketball, among other things. You can do a lot more than that. We'll get into that. So I'm glad you survived Saturday's crazy game that involved 6 players being ejected. You guys had to make a last-minute run to win by 1 over Santa Clara. Have you ever been in a game like that before?
No, sir. That was the first time I've ever been in a situation like that. It was a learning experience. We came out, won the game. Adversity hit us. And, I feel like our team's been working on adversity throughout the season, and we completed the job.
Yeah. Your journey to this point hasn't been a typical one. I think you spent a year in junior college, I believe, and then 1 year in NCAA, right?
2 years in junior college, and then 1 year in Missouri State.
Alrighty. Could you talk about that a little? How you went from junior college to Missouri State to USF, and I guess the thing that perplexes me, I hadn't seen you play up until this year, and I said to my colleague who actually graduated from USF, I said. This guy's a human pogo stick. He looks like a pro, man. Where has he been for the last 4 years? So I guess if you could take us through that.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. My senior year of high school, I didn't have any Division I offers or multiple schools. I had I think the best option I had was either prep school or junior college. And then, I was recruited by junior college. He was a local guy, and then he got the job at Kansas or Independence, Kansas. And then, I went over there to get out, the state of Florida a little bit, see what, what it's like. And then, I did pretty decent my freshman year. I did okay. Didn't really get to show my game. And then my sophomore year of my junior college, I went to NEO, Northeastern Oklahoma. And then the coach there was a friend of my cousin's. So I went there, he trusted me. He gave me confidence. I showed that I can do a lot more. And then I got recruited. That's when my recruitment went up. I had a couple offers from, mid majors. And then I chose Missouri State. Sorry. Someone called me. Sorry. Yeah, so I chose Missouri State, and then went over there, did pretty decent again, but I didn't feel like I get to show my game, I showcase my talent. So I went to San Francisco, and then it's crazy is so my sophomore year in junior college, Coach Bankhead, one of the assistant coaches here at USF, he was recruiting me my sophomore year, and then I was supposed to go on a visit, but I didn't end up getting the chance to go on the visit. Because I sat down, ate with him, we went to lunch with Bankhead and everything. So I felt he was a good guy, good coach. What they had in the program, was real. And then, so when I was in the transfer portal, he was one of the first dudes that called me. And then, we set up a visit. It was like a long time no see. It was just great vibes. And, when I went over there on my visit, the teammates, the coaching staff, the coach over here was great. I felt like I could be at home. So, I felt like I trusted the coaches, Coach CG, Chris, Bankhead, Plank, Coach Dunk, all the guys, my teammates, shout out to my teammates, they played a definitely big role in this. And, that just made history since then.
Right, right. So I doubt many predicted before the season started that you would be in consideration for West Coast Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember, we did the show last night, and I don't remember if we were talking about it on or off the air,
Mm-hmm.
but, when we were talking about West Coast Conference and who's Player of the Year, and I said, well, I don't know. I think some of the Gonzaga guys might cancel out each other, and I don't know if St. Mary's has really one star. So I said, to me, it comes down to you and Anton Watson. I think if I was voting, that's. But anyway, I digress. Last season your stats were solid at Missouri State, but you've taken a tremendous leap this year. So what exactly do you credit for the improvement in your game?
Just work, hard work, every day in the gym in the summertime, just getting better and better. Try not to, take days off and, try to get my confidence back a little bit, try to get my, my all around game back. So just working on ball handling and everything, made a tremendous jump in my free throws. So, just time and the work, it all works out together.
I think I heard someone say that you work out in the off season with a pro. Maybe it's a relative or a good friend.
Yeah, it's my boy Scott Barnes. I work out with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. We were childhood friends, so we go way back. So it's crazy, seeing where he's at now. It just kind of motivates me a little bit to get where he's at. So he plays a big role in it. He helps me with pointers. Gives me advice. So just working on him in the summertime is a great thing.
And so you guys must be roughly the same age, right?
Yeah, he's 2 months older than me. So yeah, he has it, barely, but yeah.
Right. Did FSU ever reach out to you?
No, not like any offers or anything, but that's a good school. I could have saw myself there, but
Yeah, you would fit their style of play, I think.
yeah, but it all works out.
Yeah, yeah,
So I felt like I did what I did. I made the right decision. I'm glad. I'm thankful for the USF community. So that's what happened.
for sure. And your game, there's a lot of similarities between your game and Scotty's, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit. I feel like, he just, we all expand our game. I feel like he definitely got better, shooting the ball over the years, got his confidence, now he's, man over there in Toronto.
Right, right. So when you were at Northeastern Oklahoma A&M as a sophomore, you were a very effective passer even then.
Yeah.
So ha how did you develop those skills as a big man, or weren't you always a big man? Because I think one of the things that really stands out to me, besides your athleticism, is your ability to see the floor and to make, some really difficult passes.
hmm I was always a guard. I was a late bloomer, so I started growing I started my height journey my sophomore year of high school, sophomore summer of high school. I think my freshman year I came into high school like 5'10", 5'11". And then, so I've always been having guard skills, stuff like that, passing, and then over the years, I just got taller and taller. So, just my body changed and everything like that. So, just getting accustomed to my body. But I always had the guard skills, passing. So I always had that in my game.
All right. In my opinion, and I don't know if you've seen him play, but there are a lot of similarities between you and Kansas's KJ Adams. Have you seen him play this year or ever seen him play?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Well, you're both excellent athletes. You're similar size. I think you got him by an inch or so.
Mhm.
Excellent finishers around the rim, versatile defenders, great passers. Um, And what I find curious about that is, I didn't want to really get a lot into the draft, but I feel like when you look at draft boards, except for ours, you don't see KJ's name and you don't see your name, and that shocks the heck out of me because to me, you guys are like it's kind of stands out that you're going to be able to fit into the league.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't want to delve too much into the draft because you're not you got one more year and you could come back. But
Mhm.
have you thought about how your game translates?
Yeah. I feel like passing, just spreading the floor, pushing the ball transition, playing off guys, whoever it is, just being versatile. I feel like, versatility is a great thing in the league right now. So I feel like, my game plays well into that. But if I'm not on the draft boards, I just got more to prove, still season ahead of us, focusing on the season, trying to win the conference and then trying to go to March. So
Right.
if
You're on
uh,
ours. You're on
yeah,
our draft board.
yeah. Appreciate you.
So far this season, according to Synergy, you've made 4 of 11 jumpers. Is that the next phase of your development? I think it was at Northeastern Oklahoma. You shot threes about, I think, without looking at the stats, I think you took about two a game there. So how do you feel about your jump shooting at this point?
Uh,
I know it's not called for in your current role.
mhm. I feel like, I have, the opportunity. Coach tells me to shoot it. I feel like it's just a personal thing. So NEO, I was shooting, and then Missouri State, I took a mental toll over there. Kind of messed my head up a little bit. So I was just trying to work things back, trying to get my three ball back together confidently. But I feel like everything will work out. Like you said, the jump shots, mid range, it's coming. So I'm shooting it. So I just got to get more confident. Keep working, and it'll show.
Right, right. Is there one phase of your game do you think that goes unnoticed? And when I mean or maybe it's not necessarily unnoticed, maybe in your current situation you can't uh you, like for example, you can't really spend a lot of time the way your team's structured. You can't spend a lot of time on the perimeter. They need you in the paint. So is there one thing because people just don't pay attention, or because of your role, do you think that goes unnoticed that you'd like people to know about your game?
I mean, not really. I feel like, the coaching staff, CG and everybody, showcases my game. You know, when I'm on the perimeter, set screens. They set screens for me, trying to get to the basket or, shoot it. But, it's just me at the end of the day. I feel like they're doing a great job of me, expanding my game. So I feel like, they're doing a great job. The perimeter, I think I have a couple clips, maybe in my synergy where I'm on the perimeter or, kind of playing the point guard role and
Right. Running the
yeah,
pick and roll. And that was the first thing that came to my mind.
yeah. So I feel like, if anything people don't see is just like, the three ball or like can he shoot? So, it's there. It's there. Trust me. It's there.
Okay. All righty. So the Dons have won 5 straight and second place, trailing St. Mary's by 2 games. You get another shot at St. Mary's in a week at their place. But even if you win, you're still going to need a little help from somebody else, such as Gonzaga.
Mhm.
Um, how is the team viewing the situation? Probably the best thing you could hope for is tying St. Mary's. I think that would be, I mean, they've won 12 straight. It's hard to believe they would lose 3 games.
Mhm.
So how's the team, it looks tough right now, but how's the team feeling about it?
Just going day by day. I don't feel like we're really worried about the 5 games or 4 games ahead of us. I feel like, we got to worry about each day, each game first, one game at a time, just staying in it. Obviously, they beat us at home. So it's like when we play them, we got to come out there with energy. We got to be the first team to hit, throw that first punch. So I feel like, we'll be definitely all right. I feel like we're really worried about, the rankings or the standings, whatever, just, trusting in ourselves. At the end of the day, it's us versus us.
Right, right. Um, do you happen to know if you did tie them, what the tiebreaker is? Like who gets first seed in the tournament? Do you happen to know who that is? Because if you tied them, that would mean they probably lost to Gonzaga, and you beat Gonzaga and you beat them, so
Mhm.
they would have two. Yeah, they would have 2 losses. You would have 2 losses. Who gets first seed in the tournament?
I don't even know how that works, to be honest. If I'm being honest, yeah, I don't know how it works, but I
Right.
feel like whoever has the number one seed in the conference, definitely gets to go to March, and then I think there's a bid. I don't know the bids or the at larges. I don't know how that goes, but
But that's
I
kind of huge in your conference, right? Because the number one, isn't it the number one seed gets like 2 buys?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. We'll have to look into that.
Mhm.
All right. So in addition to your loss to the Gales, you lost a bunch of contests to, well, not a bunch. You lost close contests to a bunch of good teams.
Mhm.
Boise State was close, Grand Canyon was close, Arizona State was close, Utah State was close, Gonzaga was close. And you did have good wins over Minnesota and Santa Clara.
Mhm.
So the bracketologists aren't really talking about you on the bubble. They're really being hard on your conference, by the way. Even though Gonzaga won at Kentucky the other day, they're still saying they're out. So how do you react to stuff like that where you guys played a pretty tough, non-conference schedule? And I'll tell you what, like Grand Canyon, they're for real. You could testify to
Yeah.
that. That's a
Yeah.
legit team. So how you feeling about how the bracketologists are treating the entire conference?
Well, I mean, they have their opinions, and however they run it. I feel like the West Coast Conference is a great conference. It's a lot of good teams in here. A lot of good players. So I feel like they should give us a chance, or give us the recognition of who we are and what we bring to the table.
Right, right. And you'll be happy to know the way the system works, which I don't necessarily agree with, but Minnesota, who
Mm,
you beat earlier in the season, I remember that game actually. They're really coming on. So that
yeah.
victory over them looks better and better. All right. So it would seem to be a lot of pressure to know that you may have to win the tournament, the West Coast Conference tournament, to get into the NCAA tournament. Um, how do you handle that kind of pressure, or do you just put it out? You don't even think about it. Sounds like you're saying we're just kind of taking it day by day. But
Mm.
do you agree with that? Is that how you're
Uh,
approaching it?
I feel like there's, like you said, a lot of pressure. But I feel like our team's dealt with a lot of pressure. Like I said, we've been dealing with adversity throughout the season, so I feel like we bounce back from it. We're getting better and better each day, and our coaching staff is just telling us, keep fighting, keep working, and then, the results will show. So I feel like, if we take day by day, practice by practice, game by game, will be great in a situation for us to go to March.
And what gives you confidence when you go up against the St. Mary's and the Gonzaga about your particular team? You got Marcus Williams at guard. You got Mongolian Mike. You can play just about anywhere. And yourself. I'm just mentioning a few, but what about your team? Do you think? All right, I think we've gotten since day one. I think we're really making progress. What particular things do you see yourself doing better that gives you confidence that you can, take on St. Mary's and Gonzaga and beat them in the upcoming games?
Just being ourselves. We have 1 through 15. Feel like we have a very deep bench. I feel like all guys come to play. We're a great team. Everyone brings energy. Bring positive energy. I feel like we're dogs. We're underdogs. So I feel like that's what brings the toughness out of us. So I feel like if we have that mindset going in each game, playing together, playing defense, coming out, getting 3 stops in a row, just coming out with that mentality, that dog mentality. I feel like we can do it.
Right. I see a lot of progress, by the way, in Mike's game. I watched him a lot at Dayton, and got to be honest, he was a little bit out of control. I see him playing with a lot more, taking better shots, making better decisions. I'm happy for him. So I think that's one thing. He could be a wild card. Somebody who he's kind of been, low key this year. And I think, if he could take a next step, that might be the thing that propels you. So lastly, let's talk about something other than basketball. Tell me something about yourself that most people, beside the people close to you, don't know. It could be a hobby, a special interest, a superstition, or a habit. Just something fun that most people don't know about Jonathan Mogbo.
Oh, okay. So something fun that people don't know is I used to be a streamer, but I retired the streaming days. I got to get back to it, but I would say I'm a pro gamer. I for sure would say I'm a pro gamer.
Wow. All right. So any other hobbies or interests?
Nothing crazy. I still got to get out in the city, so I feel like I'm still learning what's out here. Besides basketball, and hanging out with my teammates, I'm really just on the game. Just doing my thing on the game.
And what game? And what's your favorite? Some of your favorite games?
So the best games I'm good at are 2K, Call of Duty, and Madden. Those are my 3 games.
All righty. If they ever bring college basketball game back, are you gonna play that?
Sure. They just brought NCAA back
Did they
football. So
really? For
yeah,
football or basketball?
football. They just dropped the trailer today, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I
Ah,
will be on that too. So
obviously, I'm looking more forward to basketball.
yes, sir.
All right, Jonathan. Well, it was great to talk to you, and I want to thank you for taking the time today. And I wish you and the team the best for the rest of the season. And please come back and visit us, especially if you decide to test the waters. Maybe like when you're going through that process of combines and workouts, you could maybe find 15 minutes and come visit us and let us know how it's going.
Sure, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Our second special guest today is Mississippi State freshman guard Josh Hubbard, a top 100 recruit who currently ranks second in the SEC for three-point percentage on the season. Josh is playing nearly 25 minutes per game, averaging 14.8 points, 2.4 rebounds, 1.7 assists. On the season, he's shooting 36% from deep, 82% from the free throw line. And for points per possession, he ranks above the 75th percentile on jumpers off the dribble, spot ups, pick and rolls, and handoffs. That's a lot of good numbers there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So welcome to the show, Josh. How you doing today? How was practice?
Oh man, it was great. We got to it. A high energy level practice. Everybody got to it, so it was great.
All right, good. So I believe you are the first true freshman that we've ever interviewed, and we've interviewed a lot of guys. You knew that. I mean, you listen to the show every week, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. So you finished your high school career as the state of Mississippi's all-time leading scorer with 4,367 points, and you came to the Bulldogs as a four-star recruit. You currently have, I don't know if you know this, but you currently have the sixth highest usage percentage in the SEC. Did you expect to have such a big role this season in your first season?
Well, I had big expectations for myself, coming in, but I never knew it would end up like this. I worked very hard. Coach Jans pushed me to my limit, and I was tested, like you said, as a freshman, and I just had to come in and do what I do to help the team.
Right, right. So Mississippi State has a reputation, at least recent years, for being an excellent defensive team that plays a grinded out style. But that's not really the case anymore. With you and Shaq Moore combining you guys form a dynamic and explosive backcourt. You guys are really fun to watch. So with that said, I suspect you're getting a lot of love and attention from the hometown fans. Is that the case?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Stark Vegas is a great place. Starkville, love city, home feeling. It doesn't get no better than this. So.
Right, and you're from Mississippi originally, so but I mean the fans must really, really love the way you play because for those who haven't seen you play, I mean you're a little jitterbug out there. You got great range, you in and out all over the place. In defense, you get into guys, get right into guys. Yeah. By the way, I want to ask you, what's your wingspan? Because I was rewatching some of the highlights from the Mississippi game at Ole Miss, and
Mhm.
when you put it up, you look like who's that superhero who has the arms that can, you know what I'm talking
I
about?
know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
But do you have a long wingspan or
I don't. Me personally, I don't think it's that long of a wingspan. Maybe it's a long wingspan for a 5'10" guard.
All right. Maybe it's
So,
just somehow how you elongate your body when you go in for the layup, but it really
yeah.
looks like you have like, plastic rubber arms that keep on going. But anyway, I digress. Okay, so last season the Bulldogs really struggled to score at times. In fact, they were the worst three-point shooting team in the country at 26.6% from deep. This year, the team's shooting is up to 32% from deep, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to you. Do you feel a lot of pressure to lead this team on the offensive end?
Nah, no pressure at all. A lot of people think it's just me on the offensive end, but if you looked at that off season, during my summer, my first summer here, we all were working. Coach James pushed us. A lot of players. Like you saying, being the worst 3-point percentage team wise, last year. There were a lot of guys that didn't shoot the ball great last year that are shooting the great ball this year, and I feel like with me coming in. I learned a lot, on the defensive side, and they taught me a lot of things offensively to be a complete player. And once we put all those pieces together, like you said, that 32%, all our numbers went up. So it was just a great overall.
Right, right. Um, so you have had 6 20+ point games this season, including 3 of the last 10, which were all in the SEC. A lot of freshmen, once they hit conference play, we see a drop in their numbers. And there's a lot of different reasons why that could happen. But there's also the thing they always call the freshman wall. I'm sure you've heard of that, where freshmen, are playing a lot more and a lot more physicality, and they kind of run out of gas. You haven't seemed to hit that. So how are you holding up? And how has conference play compared to the non-conference play?
Um, as a little boy, playing, I always played up, so I think that played a huge part in, my experience wise. And then, like you said, the SEC, I'm sorry, conference play, it's tough, faster pace, the physicality, the refs aren't going to give you every call.
Mm.
But I feel like I approached it good mentally. I didn't let it get to me, if that makes sense. I just knew my team had my back, I had their back, and we just go into games mentally prepared. And whatever's thrown at us, we just have to be able to take it.
All right. So you guys really weren't fully healthy till New Year's Eve. How much did the return of center Tulu Smith help you, and how has he helped the team since his return?
Oh man, he's that missing piece. Like you said, at New Year's, he opens the court up so amazingly, and he's a great defensive player too. He can guard a few guards, and we can switch a lot with him in the game. And he's all SEC player. What more could you ask for? From that center position. He's a leader on and off the court. Incredible human being. A giving person. So it's just a lot of amazing things about him that when he came back, we knew it was that missing piece. So
Right. So last spring, we had the star of March Madness on our show, Marquise Noel. I'm sure you know who Marquise is, right? Kansas State.
oh yeah.
Right.
Guard.
Yeah, little point guard. And he is only one of two point guards in the NBA under 6 feet right now. So you're 5'10". Who in the NBA do you follow and model your game after? Because I'm sure it's not like Joel Embiid.
A lot of people I've been following throughout the years have mainly been Chris Paul and Damian Lillard. I think another person that's amazing, I don't know if he's probably around 6 foot, is Jalen Brunson. He's been killing it in the NBA.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of guards my height or around my height pick up a lot of things off Jalen Brunson in this generation. So, he's a great player.
Right. And again, for those who haven't seen you play, you look like you spend a lot of time in the weight room. Am I correct? I mean, you're physical. You're a really strong, sturdily built guy. So I assume you spend a lot of time in the weight room?
Most definitely. Yes, sir.
Right. Well, good on you. So I mentioned, at the beginning, the top areas where you're excelling. What is the next phase in your development? Maybe it happens this year, maybe it doesn't happen until next year, but what is the next phase of Josh Hubbard that we're going to see?
The next phase is just being that complete player. When I first came here in the summer, my defense was not that great compared to what it is now. I've made a lot of improvement, and I'm still improving. I want to be a great defensive guard that can hoop on both ends of the court. And the next phase offensively is just getting my numbers higher. I'm a little disappointed in my numbers right now, but I'm not letting that get to me because we still have it's bigger than me. We got to win some more games and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like that's the next phase.
Okay. One thing I was thinking, because you averaged, I think, close to 5 assists per game in high school. And I've seen you make some tremendous passes. So the skill is there. I was thinking, as a playmaker, you could, that would be one of the things we'll probably see from you in the future.
Most definitely. Yes, sir. Creating for others.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we're talking about the team and how well they're doing. And right now, most experts say you're in, and they also say Ole Miss is in. They say you are going to be the last two in, assuming you don't win the conference tournament. So you got a tough schedule coming up. You got 7 games left, 4 at home, 3 on the road, and they include games against Ole Miss soon. You got Kentucky, South Carolina, Auburn, A&M. So out of the 7 teams you're going to play, you faced 4 of them already, and you're 1-3 against them. So what gives you the confidence that you won't go 1-3 against, won't lose 3 or 4 next time? What do you think you guys can do to kind of turn the page and reverse that and get a little revenge?
Yeah, I feel like there's some, that we left at those places, that we lost to, that we just want to get that revenge so badly. And we're hungry for those teams, like you said, them 1-3 moments, we're hungry for those teams, and we feel like that we can beat any team, so that was frustrating on our part. And then, just being motivated about the success they had last year and creating more success for this year, because we know the vets that we have on this team experienced a lot of success last year, and they know what it takes to, have even more success and have an even better position for ourselves. And, they told us, and the coaching staff told us, that these next 7 games are huge, like you just said to me. And yeah, we're very mentally and physically prepared, and we care so much about it that, we're gonna give it our best shot each game.
Right, right. And I think that Ole Miss game is going to be critical. I don't think you can afford to lose to them twice unless you could beat somebody like Kentucky, to make up for it. But great year for Mississippi basketball, to have two really good teams in the state. So I got two more questions. They're personal questions. You're a, I'm going to make sure I say this right. You're a
Kinesiology.
kinesiology major, which isn't easy to say and likely involves a lot of hard work. Why did you choose that major? For those who don't know, it's the study of movement, and it's kind of medically related, right?
Yeah. In the kinesiology field, you can do a lot of things on the coaching side, or, like you said, on the medical side. It's pretty broad, and, I just feel like I had a lot of interest in it, in that field. And, so I just felt like that was the best fit, choosing my major. So,
But I assume it's a pretty tough major,
oh yeah, most definitely. It's definitely not easy, but
right?
yeah.
If you can't pronounce it, it's got to be tough. So I got one last question for you. Outside of school and basketball, what are some of your other interests? And please don't say video games.
Oh, that's the main one right there. That's the main one.
I'm telling you, if I've
Main
interviewed
one.
100 players, 95 of them have said video games.
Yeah, yeah. Video games for sure. For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else, like, any other hobbies, or do you have a dog or a pet or?
No, I don't have a pet, but I plan on getting one though. I like watching a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Big movie guy.
What
So
kind of what are some of your favorites?
ooh. Well, what genre?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. Like, if you asked me that question, probably the first thing I'd
Mm.
say would be like Black Hawk Down.
Mm. Um, man, it's tough.
Well,
Uh
what genre do you usually like? Comedy or
yeah.
suspense or thrillers or
Yeah,
mystery?
suspense, probably thrillers. Yeah, I like those suspenseful movies. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I know you're on a tight schedule, so I'm going to let you go, Josh. I want to thank you for joining us today, and I wish you and the team the best for the rest of the season. I know it's going to be tough, but I think you guys can do it. And please come back and visit us down the road. Want to see you again, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Good luck, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Our special guest today is Clemson senior forward PJ Hall, a Player of the Year candidate in the ACC and a Wooden Award late season finalist. PJ ranks in the top 10 of the ACC for points per game, 19.5, rebounds per game, 7.2, blocks per game, 1.7, effective field goal percentage, 54.7, player efficiency rating at 28.9, win shares 4.1, plus minus 10.5. And by the way, I think you are actually in the top 5 of all those categories, but I had to say top 10 because I think you ranked 9th in rebounding. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so I had
Yeah.
to say top 10. So welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Yeah, I'm doing well. Ready to start our prep for Georgia Tech.
Yeah. I see you got a haircut.
I did, man. I lost all the curls. I went a little too short.
Yeah. You, Ian, should do some kind of NIL thing and get baseball caps for guys with curly hair, because my hair, if I don't use gel, it just goes all over the place. I think
Yeah.
Ian looks like he has the same problem. Maybe you do too.
Yeah, he's always wearing a baseball hat. He's got longer hair than me, so he pushes it back and wears a Braves hat. And yeah, I normally just let mine go. I got curly hair. I don't put anything in it. I just kind of let it throw out.
Wow. I cannot get away with that because it just goes all different directions. So, all right. So let's start with the really important stuff off the top. I hear you're a serious dog lover. All
Oh,
dogs.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyone's dog. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And do you have any dogs of your own?
Yeah, I got one back home, Daisy. She's a lab mix, great dog. I love that dog to death. I would do anything that dog ever needed me to do. But yeah, I mean, I love just about anybody's dog. I met one yesterday. I was going on a walk and outside my apartment, Banks. There's a cool little dog. There's a I forgot what it's called. It's just our one of our receptionists has one too. It's what kind of dogs do you have? I forgot. Weidenheimer. I can't remember. It's cool.
Weimaraner?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to meet our I don't know if you've ever seen the logo for our show, but we actually have my dog is in that logo, my show logo.
Yeah?
You want to meet Mookie?
Yeah, let me see.
Come on, Mook. Come here. Come here.
Oh, that's a good dog.
Mookie is he's mostly Stafford and Pit Bull Terrier,
Okay.
but he also has Great Pyrenees in him, so that gives him a really unique coat. You really couldn't see it, but his coat is like kind of smooth, but then over his back, like over like kind of like a cape, he has this Great Pyrenees hair that goes all over, and he's a great dog. I've had labs for years, but ours just recently passed, so we got Mookie 2 years ago.
Okay, yeah, labs are awesome. I love mixed breeds. Different character.
Yeah. My previous one was a lab shepherd mix. Great mix of dog.
Yeah, that is a good mix.
So, what are your other interests besides dogs and basketball?
In the summer I played a lot of golf. I mean, this summer I played a ton. I was going through all the NBA stuff, so I would come in here in the morning and work out around 8 or so. And then I'd leave. I might go play 9 holes. Then I'd come back and shoot around again, work out again. And then, by that time, it's here. Sunset didn't happen until like 8:45, so I might get another 9 holes in or something like that. I was playing all the time. I love golf.
One of our interviews last year. Goodness gracious, Notre Dame wing, Dane.
Goodwin, yeah.
Dane Goodwin. Dane Goodwin is a scratch golfer.
Really?
Did you never?
No, I'm not a scratch. I'm like an 11 handicap. So I'm like mid 80s. But we got a guy on our team who's a scratch. He's a freshman, Asa Thomas. He's good, man. I mean, he's like he tied one of our Clemson golfers the other day. He shot a 67. Now they're like just kind of playing out there for some messing around. It wasn't like they were taking a serious like plays later, improve your pick and clean place. Right. But he can play, man. Yeah, Joe's pretty good too. Joe's like about a 9 or 10 handicap.
Okay. Yeah. It used to be my favorite sport until my back got messed up. I miss it. I can play once in a while, but it can be pretty painful these days.
I'm trying to get all I can get out of my body right now. It's
I hear you. So Ben told me you were a little bit under the weather. You sound good now, though. You feeling good?
Yeah, I feel refreshed, dude. It was I had some kind of, I don't know what it was, but it was it took me out. It was like a throat and head thing. It was it wasn't feeling great going into Syracuse, and that cold gym really took me out. And playing in that, yelling and stuff, so I lost my voice and had a really bad cough, and it was wasn't great. But I mean, it wasn't anything that was like going to keep me out or anything. So kind of played through it in Miami, got through it, and then now I'm feeling good. Yeah.
I noticed after Miami, when you were in the handshake line, you took like this big sigh, like you were just like thankful it was over.
Yeah. Just get it over. And then we broke away at the end, so it was like, all right, I don't even have to stress about this. Just let this clock run out, please.
Right. So I think it was pretty obvious, even as a freshman, that you were going to be a player that I was going to keep my eye on. And of course I have, and you've turned out to be an excellent player. One of the things I've always noticed about you is you really have a great frame for adding muscle, and you've done that. I assume you spend a lot of time in the weight room?
Oh yeah, yes sir. I already got a lift in today just to do a little maintaining and stuff. We take that stuff serious here at Clemson. We have some incredible transformations. Hunter Tyson had a great one over his years here, and then honestly a huge one from his senior to fifth year. He really started to push himself in the weight room. But if we have a great frame for that kind of stuff, and the guys and technology and the resources we have here, I mean, it's just you just got to put in the work, and they've done a great job of me.
Right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about your health, and you've probably talked to other people about this over and over, but I'm kind of curious because I didn't realize some of this stuff. So last season you played with a broken foot. How long?
That was sophomore year. Yeah, sophomore.
That was your sophomore year.
Yeah. Sophomore year was the foot, and that was basically all year. It was stress fracture, and just play on it, don't practice, just get out what you can. And then last year was the whole knee thing. Yeah.
So last year the knee happened after did it happen this past summer?
No, it happened going into my junior year. It was kind of
okay.
Right. So I had the foot. I got hurt in like mid-December or so, and then played the year on it. Finished off right after the season. Had the foot surgery. And then I'm coming back from that. I get healthy, and the first practice back, I hurt my knee. And then obviously go out and have to have surgery on that, miss the whole summer, and then come back and miss the first game, and then start from the second game on playing.
Right. So, and then this past year, at the end of the season, you went to the G League Elite Camp, and you were impressed enough to also go to the NBA Combine. You were healthy for that, right?
Yeah. That was like after the season, I had some work to do to kind of just because I didn't have any time to rehab. It was about a 4.5 month recovery or so, and I did it in 3.5. And so that last month of not having that recovery, that's when you build all your muscle back and you kind of your structure back around the leg and your conditioning and stuff. So the whole year I didn't have any kind of muscle on it. My conditioning was out of whack. It was awful. So then after the season, I had probably about a month or 2 months to really get back to where I needed to be, and felt great going into all that stuff. It sucked because it felt like a weird time because I was oh, I got to get back ready for this, and which I did, but I wish I had that for the season, and so it was frustrating I didn't have that a little bit earlier, but there's just really no time during the season to build that muscle back up.
Right. And so what was that experience like? I assume you enjoyed it, and I assume it was a big, I don't know, but you must have been elated to be invited to the NBA portion of it. What did you take away from that, and just what was it like in general for you?
Yeah. I mean, I went into the G League Combine, going in there expecting myself to go go and play, go be you and show them what you can do. I knew that they hadn't really seen me healthy. I didn't expect so many people to not realize that I wasn't healthy up until that point. So I found that out in some interviews, and then they were like, "Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense of why you're playing well right now." But going into that camp, it was kind of all right, go. And I was expecting myself to go and then earn an invite because I wanted to show myself in the NBA Combine too. So and also going through with Hunter Tyson was cool too. That was a fun experience. So we both went in there and just kind of show what we can do, and it was definitely a fun experience playing and learning.
All right. And anything in particular you came away from saying, or maybe they told you, work on this or work on that? Is there any particular bits of knowledge or stuff they told you to work on?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I knew they were going to talk about was, first of all, my conditioning, just because I, wasn't in great shape last year, just obviously from the knee and stuff, but also rebounding numbers weren't that high last year. I had a couple of guys that I relied on to grab them for me because I obviously was pretty tired. But then the one thing that I took away from the NBA stuff is just, how much space there is. I really enjoyed that. I mean, you come in college game is a whole lot different than the NBA game, and so whenever you get to that NBA style play and offense, and it's just tons of space. The middle of the floor is wide open a lot of times, and I enjoy playing in that.
Right. Okay. So you decided to return to Clemson, and you're healthy now, and you're in the middle of an excellent season. You're setting career marks in just about every category. What aspect of your game are you most pleased with?
I would say probably my uptick in rebounds. It's like it's at 7-2 or whatever. I think last week I had an individual meeting with Brownell, and he was talking about it. He said it was just over 8 at that time, but I think that's one thing that my team has needed me to do in the past is rebound a little more, and on the offense and defensive end. So I've been able to have an uptick in both. I knew the scoring was going to come just from playing more, and then having a little bit more confidence and physicality down low and stuff. But yeah, I think the one thing that I've improved is rebounding and also my shot blocking too. That's up this year.
Right, right. And where would you still like to improve? I mean, what would be the next phase of your development?
I'd say probably the next facet of my game that I would like to continue to implement a little bit more is ball handling. I have really good hands, and I think that I can showcase that a little more. But I think the one thing that's going to come along still is my 3-point shot. I took a little dip in the middle of the season, but I've been shooting it better these last few games, starting off with North Carolina. But I would go through shooting slumps, everybody does, but that'll come along anyway. So it's I think that one thing that's going to continue to grow is my ball handling, though.
Okay. And I would say it's pretty safe to say that I think you've smoothed out your release. Everything looks a lot smoother,
Oh, yeah.
since the beginning of your career. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah. It I had in high school I had a little bit of a more rigid jump shot. It was still going in, but it was a little more rigid. But yeah, now I've gotten to the shooting pocket a lot quicker, and it comes out of my hand a lot quicker too. And Coach Brownell's instilled in me that he's got confidence in my shot, and that's something I love. And so myself having confidence as well is something that helps me out too. And just getting that ball up, having a high release, and the elbow up first is something we've worked on.
Right, right. And I've seen you, it's not just, kind of a big where you're just standing there and no one's guarding you. I've seen you pull up in transition, which is nice, nice
Yeah,
feature to have.
Yeah,
So,
I enjoy shooting on the move a little bit.
yeah. So what part of your game do you think goes unnoticed, is underappreciated, that maybe, I don't know, people just aren't paying attention, or maybe it's because of your role, you don't get to show it as much as you would like? What part of your game you think is underappreciated?
I don't know. I mean, one thing that I think I do a good job of whenever he calls my name is passing when I see somebody. Now, I mean, I do have sometimes blinders to go score the ball just because that's my role in this team. But I think skip passes for 3 or a dive cutter from the top from one of my post partners or something like that. I think that I see the offense pretty well. But aside from that, also shot blocking. I'm known as a scorer and not as much as a big defender, but I can go up and get about 2 blocks a game, and so that's been a big thing that I think that's gone under the radar a little bit.
Right, right. I think also just your general competitiveness.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes people don't. I think you're a pretty intense player, but people don't seem to talk about that much.
Yeah, people like to talk about the fun side of me a lot, but they on the court they don't see a whole lot of the some might call it nastiness, wanting to win. Yeah.
Right, right. I saw you and Ben Middlebrooks mixing it up a little the other night.
Yeah, man, you got the best of me, man. They edged out a tough one. Yeah, it's a good team, it's good players, but yeah, Ben's a good dude. Was here for a couple of years, lived with him for 1 year. We lived together on campus, and
you couldn't tell because every time the refs weren't looking, he'd give you a shot in the back.
Yeah, man. I tell you that's a guy who wants to win too. You say that I'm tenacious. Yeah, he wants to win. Yeah, he's competitive.
All right. So in addition to your success this year, the team's having a great season, and most experts believe, the Tigers are pretty much a lock to make the tournament. How weird does that seem after last year when you had a much better in-conference record? And it's like totally upside down, So do you guys do you guys think about those bracket predictions, or do you not even pay attention to them? Because last year you thought you were getting in and you didn't. So
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to think about the bracket stuff just because you hear so much about it. But we definitely try not too much. One thing that we definitely did this year, not as necessarily as players, but as a staff, and they really went all out on our non-conference schedule. Where all the horses and ponies, they set up a great schedule for us, and we were able to pluck off some great wins, especially some on the road. And so, going down to Tuscaloosa and winning that game, and then beating TCU in Toronto, there's a couple of good wins, and we had some other ones as well. And also some in-conference wins have helped us too. But one thing that's frustrating is like a lot of teams in the ACC in the past couple of years have struggled in some non-conference stuff. Even in the even in like the Big Ten SEC Challenge, we've done well. But it's frustrating some other games we've dropped. And we were in that conversation last year. We dropped some games we definitely had no business losing. And then it makes the conference kind of look a little weak. Then we come into conference play and the whole conference just implodes on itself because teams that shouldn't be beating people are beating people. And it's like, these guys are good players, good teams. And it's frustrating. But, at the end of the day, you just got to win games.
Yeah. We talk about it on the show all the time. We think the committee has kind of lost its way in terms of putting so much emphasis on what happens in November and December, not really considering what's going on in conference, how teams have changed, especially with the transfer portal and all this stuff. Teams are starting from scratch a lot. You guys aren't, and but yeah, that's a discussion for another day.
For a while on that.
So, as far as your teammates go, which one, maybe one, do you think is most underappreciated naturally? I could think of several.
For me, I think it's either. I mean, everyone that sees the Ian Shefflin, he's all these rebounds, he's incredible. One guy that I think is wildly underappreciated is Chase Hunter. Even the beginning of the year, getting a lot of flack and heat for just, doing his job. I can play. Just hit 1,000 points, 1,000-point mark the other night. And I'll tell you what, the dude heats up the ball every game, and he's guarding people like R.J. Davis and Judah Mintz. And then we inbound the ball to him, and he's getting pressed 94 feet. It's not an easy job. And then also whenever you're not shooting on the ball, so he's had a couple of 20-point games, but me and Joe get 15 shots a game a lot of times. And whenever you're not shooting the ball all the time and you're just facilitating, running the team, then you're getting heated up, and then you got to guard the ball for 94 feet. It's not easy. And, that's very underappreciated, and he does an incredible job with that.
Yeah, great answer. And you could have said Ian, and you could have said Joe. I think all three are, somewhat under the radar.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about Joe being on the radar, and that guy is just sniping.
Yeah, it is. I think I think what's made him stand out more is he maybe was like the second or third option. Maybe a lot of times maybe the third option, especially his last year there. It seemed like he was kind of getting squeezed out. And this year he's really played well, and he's clearly your perimeter option offensively, and you on the interior, but also on the perimeter.
Yeah, just for as good a shooter he is, I think, what is it, third all time now in ACC play? It's incredible. So, he early on in the year, he's still trying to, find a spot in this team and or find his role as we're playing and stuff. You can do everything you want in practice, but then when you're playing, it's time to, figure out really how the apples are going to fall. And then, throughout the season, he's really found his spot, and he's playing great right now, man.
Yeah, he is. So could the Tigers be even more dangerous in March? And specifically, I'm thinking that sharpshooter Alex Hemingway might join the mix. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, man. Alex is a great player. I don't know quite his agenda. That's something you ought to ask him. But I know he's been working out. He's been, working his tail off to get back on the court. And so, I wish the best for him. If he's coming back, I'd love to have him. That's another shooter we got. Right. But it's that'd be a great addition for us. But that's something you got to ask him.
All righty. So I'm going to end with one last question. And, you mentioned some of these, but you have wins over Alabama at their place, TCU, South Carolina, North Carolina, Miami. And as much as Miami's not having the season you expect, we know they have all the talent there. So you have proven you can beat anybody. So how far can this team go when we get to the ACC tournament and the big dance?
I mean, we can finish as strong as we want to. We got a lot of guys and a lot of deep players, depth in every position. And so, I mean, we have ways to hurt you in every way possible. We have defense, offense, deep shooting, interior game, and older guys as well. Guys who've been to the tournament, guys who've been to the tournament, guys who have won games in the tournament. Joe's been to the Sweet 16. I mean, anything you can ask for, we have. And so I see it as long as we're playing well and we're playing together, we can go as far as we want.
Right. Well, I wish you the best, PJ. I felt bad for you guys last year, and I think you're getting what you deserve this year, and I wish you the best. The team and yourself. And if you decide to test the NBA waters again, or even if you don't, we'd love to have you back.
Sure.
You know, when you're not in the midst of the pressure of the season, and we can sit down and especially if you're in the middle of those combines and stuff, if you could take a few minutes and let us know how you're doing.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you, man.
And tell Ben I said thank you.
Sir.
All right, so that wraps up our interviews. It was great talking to all three guys, and I appreciate their time, and I wish them success. All kinds of different guys we had, from little Josh Hubbard to big PJ Hall and Jonathan Mogbo, who's kind of in between. Great players. And if you haven't seen any of these three guys play, you got to watch. As always, I want to thank our listeners, and I want to thank all three of our special guests for joining us. If you've ever missed an episode, you can get caught up at hoopsprospects.com. Also, if you'd like to send us a question for the mailbag, please email it to admin, that's ADMIN, at hoopsprospects.com. We also take questions via social media on Twitter at hoopsprospects, on Instagram at the hoopsprospects, and on Facebook at hoopspros. We will be back later this week with a regular episode going through our normal rundown, the college hoops notebook, the NBA draft stock report, and so forth. And we will have more guests. We're getting a lot of guests these days as the season winds down. So, and lastly, don't forget, we're going to be putting this episode up with players' highlights on YouTube. So check that out.